All right. Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of The Kingdom of the Kael Isles. With technical difficulties. Sorry we're late tonight. It has been a nightmare trying to get the tech stuff to work tonight. It does not like me at all. That's why I seem so poorly lit compared to the rest of you guys, because we have to use Google Hangouts. But it's just about time for these guys to do something pretty amazing in the game. If you've been following along at home or playing the home version of Kingdom of the Kael Isles, you would know that these guys are in the continent, country, megacity of Draconis, and they are getting the last of the allies that they can get before they decide to assault the Eladrin, specifically the leader of the Eladrin, who's known as the Council of One, who is also known as Christopher, to one person in particular. But everyone else knows him as the Council of One. These guys have been kind of preparing and everything to try and get as many allies as they can, because they're going to try and sneak in through the lab that Willow used to work in. But in order to do that, they need a big, big distraction so that they don't all die. And so they're getting as many allies as they can, and they are all, they're all meeting at a place outside the Platinum City within the next day here. We're going to say that after your conversation at the end of the last game, you guys got the effects of a full rest. You have 1 day before you guys leave Draconis, and more likely than not, the battle will be happening soon after that. Obviously, it'll take time, depending on how much of a fleet the Dragonborn are going to send to get up there. But yeah, things are going to basically start snowballing out of control pretty quickly here. So this is kind of going to be your last day of freedom before things are set in motion. So, knowing that, you guys wake up in your individual rooms in Talon's estate. Is there anything specific that you guys want to do other than get ice cream?
So are we assuming we ended last time in the afternoon and we were going to do stuff? Are we assuming that's happened?
Sure. This particular section of the game has gone on much longer than I expected it to.
Fair enough.
So I'm kind of going through stuff quickly. David, can you still hear us?
No.
I swear, technology just does not like me.
Live, everybody.
Hold, please.
Well, I can tell you at the end of the last game, he wanted to go flirt while exercising.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to go read.
What is UCAM, and why am I getting UCAM?
I have no idea.
I don't know. This is...
Oh, David.
I am... Oh, okay, because Firefox likes to change things, even when I tell it not to.
You can open up Hangouts in Chrome. Like Firefox, we only have to use for Roll20.
Oh, well, yeah, that makes sense.
All right, everybody's back. So, you guys
Okay.
got done yesterday in game time, with about half a day's left. Was there anything specific that you wanted to do, kind of generalized kind of stuff? We're not going to really role play a whole lot more of your time in Draconis unless there's something really specific that you want to do. just because, again, you guys have been here for like a month and a half.
I wanted to go peruse the library, find spells if possible, if not just like magical, just brushed up.
Oh, yeah, you're a wizard.
Yes.
Go ahead and roll me investigation, and we'll figure out what you can find in there. With the amount of time that you have. Again, copying spells and stuff like that does take, I think it's like an hour per spell level and 100 gold per spell level. So you're limited a little bit in what you'll be able to find, but it's a pretty extensive library.
Sure. 16.
16. Cool. What's your maximum spell level right now?
5?
5.
Yeah,
Okay.
5.
You through perusing and everything like that, you were able to find up to 4 levels worth of spells that you can
Cool.
copy into your book. So it could be 4 level 1 spells, or 2 level 2 spells, or a 3 and a 1, or 1 4th level spell. That'll let you go ahead and do that after perusing. It is going to cost you.
That's what I was going to ask.
Do you have the money for the supplies and everything to be able to copy it?
Based on running away from the Eladrin, you told me I started with no gold.
Okay, yeah. We'll say that Talon lends you, because the money that you spend on scribing it is basically the money of you making mistakes while learning to cast the spell, and of the really expensive ink and parchment and stuff that you need in order to actually scribe the spell correctly. So we'll say Talon gives you that, but you will owe him.
Sure.
So she's doing that. The rest of you guys, do you have plans as far as specific things you wanted to get done for the second half of the day?
I was looking for a escort to get to some temples.
Yep, you were.
I was
You're definitely able to do that. I'm assuming you were looking for a temple to the Dark Lady.
ideally, yes, but anything will work because I'm just going to basically look to kind of impose my alkalite background and see if I can get like some healing potions or something to help us
Okay.
for what's coming.
Go ahead and roll me. I'll let you choose between insight and persuasion.
Probably persuasion. And that will be a whopping 11. I rolled a 2.
Okay, you're able to get 2 standard healing potions and a greater healing potion after kind of going around and talking. You were unable to find a temple to the Dark Lady.
Okay.
Which is
just
not
in-
100% surprising. She generally, people that worship the Dark Lady tend to be a little bit more secretive of it.
Okay.
So their temple is not going to, have big lights and everything in front of it.
Okay.
Kata, Avok,
Yes?
and Elaine, do you guys have specific stuff that you wanted to do?
Now that switching back to Chrome was the smart move. Okay, let's see. I believe me and I wanted to go to a training ground, and Kata was gonna.
Follow you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're my wingman.
So, yeah, that goes as well as it can. Lots of blushing from...
She don't know what happening, but she curious.
I can't remember the woman's name now. I'm completely drawing a
It
blank.
started
on
with an A, and I blanked as well.
Adriana.
Adriana.
Thank you.
Adriana, thank
I knew there was an A at the end too. I'm like,
Right.
I sandwiched it between 2 A's. So yeah, Adriana. There's a lot of awkward conversation and her blushing. And I would assume I'll leave it to you, Avok, to kind of decide how Avok reacts to it. But I would assume he's a little bit more, I guess, confident than Adriana is being.
Slightly.
Slightly, okay. So it's awkward puppy love kind of conversation, is what you're telling me?
Pretty much.
As you're showing off your feats of strength, like you're bench pressing kata.
Actually, I was gonna say Kata becomes an Earth Elemental, and we
Yeah.
just have
And that was the thing. You're like you're bench pressing kata, and then she changes to an earth metal, and you're like, "Rah! Oh yeah. I know, Elaine, you weren't physically here last time. You guys are in Draconis, though. Elaine, is there anything specifically that you wanted to do while you were in Draconis?
Not really.
Okay. So you're just kind of following people around. You have been in contact with your Dragon Master, and he's basically told you at this meeting that's happening between all these different parties, you are going to be his official representative, and he will be communicating through you in order to make sure that his wishes are made clear in this meeting. So.
Okay.
You will be acting officially as the envoy of remind me of his name, Ethwin.
Eighthman. Oh, the dragon.
The dragon.
Athlanel.
Say it one more time.
Athlanel.
Athlanel. There we go. Athlanel. Yes. I use a lot of A's in my NPCs. So yeah, you do know.
Six-letter alphabet.
You do know that you're going to be there in a more official capacity than the rest of the people in the party. So the rest of the day, unless you guys have other specific things, the rest of the day goes pretty well. You eat at night. When you wake up in the morning, you are all basically told, okay, this is your last day in Draconis, possibly ever. So you guys have a full day. And once this meeting takes place, because of how close it's taking place to the Platinum City, you're relatively certain that you're not really going to have any downtime between the meeting and the starting of the invasion. Like it's not going to happen directly after the meeting, but you are going to be very busy from the meeting onward if you can get everybody to agree. So yeah, with this being your last day, possibly of the rest of your lives, you're not sure what's going to happen during this assault. Is there anything that you guys want to do your last day in Draconis, last kind of free day?
Fade would have written a letter
Okay.
to be delivered to what Lord Commander, trying to just kind of show that the Legend aren't all horrible and
Okay.
opening relations, I guess, for
Okay.
afterwards if it happens.
One thing you have been kind of surprised at has been the reaction that people have to you. Again, being an Eladrin, you've been outside the Platinum City before, and since traveling with this party, anytime somebody sees an Eladrin coming, it's always a negative experience if they're not Eladrin. You've noticed that while you've been in Draconis, people have watched you, because it doesn't seem like they trust you, but they don't have the hatred you've come to expect of everyone else. So it's been more of an idea of, well, you are technically a citizen of a country that they're at war with. So, but yeah, it has been kind of a weird experience because everywhere else you've gone that there hasn't been a huge Eladrin population, you've been ostracized, and here. You're just kind of watched. They're very careful to watch you. And there's been certain instances where they haven't let you go in certain places. But no one's been mean to you. Everyone's been really polite, and people have smiled at you and things like that. They've just been wary. So, So that's what Faye does. Anyone else on your last day?
Willow wants to kind of like wander. I mean, she's never going to see this place again, and she
Okay.
wants to experience it.
Again, the whole party itself is very limited in their ability to go, but you are able to get an escort that's allowed to take you to certain places. Is there a specific kind of thing? Like, are you looking for like touristy things to do, or what kind of stuff are you thinking of doing? Because the city itself is a mega city. Like, you would not be able to walk. You actually can't walk to where you guys met the Lord Commander in a day. Like, you guys had to teleport there to get there fast enough. So the city is massive, and the area that you're in, his estate, Talon's estate, is technically kind of separated off from the rest of the city. He has like a little island type thing. His estate floats. So it takes like 15 minutes ish to actually get to the mainland to go around, and then you have this mega city to explore. So what kind of things would you want to explore?
I think just kind of to experience the culture and the architecture, and just like to get
Okay.
a feel for, traveling to this completely different place.
Yep. So yeah, for the most part, the city itself, because again it is limited in size, is a very vertical city. And a lot of the city is actually built over the water. Like, there's not actually a lot of land that they can build on. So a lot of the city floats or has supports and things like that go into the water itself. And so you notice a lot of the architecture itself reflects kind of a combination between their draconic heritage and the fact that they're so reliant on water in general, that you see a lot of dragon wings and scale kind of architecture type stuff intermixed with a lot of water imagery in columns and pillars and buttresses and things like that, where you'll have waves or sea creatures and things like that. So it's this really kind of strange kind of sea dragon motif in the small part of the city that you're able to explore in the day that you have. And again, a lot of the cuisine is seafood, and vegetation. There's a lot of vegetarian kind of cuisine, despite the fact that they are, Dragonborn in general tend to be a little bit more carnivorous than your average, because dragons are. You were surprised by just the massive amount of kind of vegetarian options, because growing vegetables is a lot easier and takes a lot less space than livestock. So lots of fish and veggies. Spring rolls are popular.
Sure.
So that was your day. Kata and Avok, anything you guys specifically want to do on your last day, or any kind of prep work that you want to do?
Kate, out of character, does Kata know Druidcraft?
No, she does not.
Okay, then.
Sad face.
Oh well. Okay, so Avok is the nearest, prettiest flowers he can find.
Okay. There are, as you're kind of looking, you are introduced to these really interesting things. Talon actually has a water garden, which is basically all the plants on it are specifically, they didn't naturally form this way, but they've been selectively bred and everything to where they all float. Like water lilies and things like that. They're all he has these floating gardens as part of his estate, and it's actually a relatively common practice. You find out about Draconis in general is to have these floating gardens and things like that, because again they have tons of water, not a whole lot of land. So you're able to collect a bunch of these aquatic versions of flowers that are still very aromatic and still very pretty. But
Okay.
they grow entirely in saltwater, even. So,
Okay. Well, Avok is going to take them, and then tie them into a little bouquet, with using the piece of banner of his old company that he's been holding on to since the beginning.
oh, okay.
And yeah, and then how does he want to do this? Give me a sec here. I need to.
Cool. We'll go to Kata. What you're thinking? Kata,
Yeah.
anything specific you want to do?
I
You can technically explore a little bit more than most because you can go underwater.
yes. Hey, I was about to ask, are they like completely cut off from wildlife, or
No, the way that Draconis is it's this giant natural harbor. They do have. They actually take the water in the center of this natural harbor really seriously because it's their source of food. It's a massive part of how they keep their country running. So they're very good at. Oh, I'm doing like throwing things on the ground. Why are you doing that? My phone is doing weird things. What the? No, Bixby, I didn't talk to you.
huh?
Sorry, my phone has this assistant called Bixby, and every so often, if I say certain things, it'll think I'm talking to it when I'm not. No, there's a lot of wildlife and sea creatures, and a remarkably diverse biome in their harbor. That is, you're talking hundreds of miles in diameter. Like it's a massive body of water. So if you wanted to explore it again, you're not really allowed to leave without some sort of an escort. And
Yeah,
going underwater is going to be interesting for your escorts. So you see some of them being a little bit upset that they're going to have to do this, but it looks like they have the ability to let you kind of explore the seas.
I'll do that. I'll transform into a water elemental and
So you're invisible underwater. This does not please them,
oops.
but they do their best to keep an eye on you. You see one of them cast fairy fire on you.
Okay, yeah,
just
I'll
to
I want to do that.
kind of give them away, and they basically just keep casting it on you so that they know roughly where you are.
Yeah.
Because once you get underwater, you're invisible as a water elemental.
Hey.
So
Yeah, and once the 5 hours is almost up, I go back to the surface.
okay, so you get to see some pretty interesting things. Again, the lake sea type thing in the center of Draconis is remarkably deep. And like I said, very diverse. It's got small fish, larger predators, things like that. Like it's a very well kept biome, if that makes sense. Avok, you know what you're doing?
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna seek out Adriana.
Okay. So Adriana, again, having spent most of yesterday watching you show off and flirt with her, she's starting to become a little bit more kind of comfortable with it. But she's not really she's not flirting back or anything like that. She's just not blushing or anything like that. She's just kind of accepted that this is how you're acting towards her thus far. So you find her and she turns to you and goes, "Hello, Master Avok. What can I do for you today?"
Um, hey, well, since we'll be heading out soon, I figured um, s- something to remember me by. And he gives her the bouquet of flowers and pecks her on the cheek.
Oh, and so she's a little bit taken back by the package. She blushes a little bit, and then she looks down. She's like, "Oh, you've uprooted the flowers that I spent so much time planting.
Of course, you are going to do that. I should have
Thank,
seen that coming.
thank you. No, it's." And she kind of looks at you, and she, for the first time, probably since you've met her, she gives you a genuine smile, not kind of the "I'm being polite to you," but she gives a genuine smile, and she giggles a little bit as you get a little flustered as she kind of reprimands you for all the hard work that she did planting these flowers in the water. She goes, "No, it's very lovely. Thank you, Master Avok. I If we had met under different circumstances, perhaps both of our lives would be different." And she kind of looks down for a second. She looks back up. "I hope the gods will see you through your task, and that you may one day return." And then very quickly she gives you a peck on the cheek and then walks away.
And the like turns red and just saunters. And he just turns and saunters away like all. He's now happy.
Elaine, anything else you want to do while you're in the city?
No.
Cool. All right, so the day comes. Talon has you guys gather in the room where that teleportation circle was. And as you guys get there, you see the Lord Commander along with 4 of his guards. And as he gets there, you see he and Talon are talking. And as they come over, he goes, "Oh, I guess now it's time to see how well this is going to go. From what Talon's told me, this is going to happen quickly. As of yesterday, our fleet has left in secret on their way to the Platinum City. Apparently," and he looks over at Talon, "we will be there before they are, but that should cut down somewhat on the time it will take. If you are all ready, I believe it is time for us to go." He goes, "Oh, you're just absolutely just the most wonderful person in the world, trusting me and thinking this is all going to work, despite the fact that there's really nothing that would support that conclusion. But who cares? It's going to be fun, if nothing else. Are the rest of you prepared?"
As well as we can be.
Fantastic. Well, this is going to be uncomfortable, let's say. I'm going to need you all to stand, and he kind of shows you the teleportation circle itself is a really complex one. I don't know, Victoria, or I'm sorry, Willow. Do you have the teleportation circle spell? I don't know if you're a high enough level yet. Okay. Even not having it, you're familiar with teleportation circles in general. They're widely used by the Eladrin. Fade, you would be familiar with them as well. This is the most complicated teleportation circle you have ever seen. There are runes inscribed within runes and all these geometric shapes everywhere. It's a very, very technical, complicated circle. And there are a bunch of circles with runes and geometric shapes inscribed in them. And he basically places each one of you guys on one of these circles, and then he stands in the center. And he goes, "All right, it's been, well, centuries since I've tried something like this. There's really no way for me to prepare you for this other than to say, I'm sorry. And as he says that, you see him spread his hands out, and you guys feel waves of arcane energy just start shooting from the teleportation circle that you guys are standing on, and you guys start to feel kind of like your body is being squeezed almost. You start to feel this slight pressure all over your body that starts to get more and more intense, and your head starts to hurt and your ears start to ring, and you guys start feeling your skin at first kind of like itches and feels uncomfortable, and then the sensation gets more and more powerful from where it goes to an itch, to a burn, to a searing pain. And you guys can see everyone, including the Lord Commander, seems to be feeling this exact same experience, because everyone else's, their faces are contorted in pain. You're starting to hear people cry out in pain and agony, and it's just getting worse and worse and worse. And then the world around you starts to dissolve into these colors and shapes, and you feel like you're being dragged across hot glass as it rips your body apart and things like that. And you can hear like the screams of agony and pain from your friends and from everyone. And then all of a sudden, the world just stops. And you're all completely wiped out. Most of you fall down to the ground. Some of you, if you have a constitution lower than 12, you lose your lunch. No save. You're done.
I cut this. I can't remember what her crown is.
If you feel that's something your character would do, doesn't matter your constitution, you still do it.
Yeah.
But as you guys look around, your bodies are for the most part intact. But Avok, you specifically, you know the effects of significant damage to a body. You know the effects of pushing your body too hard. You feel like you've just run a marathon without stretching or anything. Like you can feel almost like just shy of muscle tears, and like your body aches all over. There's no physical damage. You see no bruising or anything like that, but it feels like you have seriously abused your body. And the rest of you guys can tell that as well. Just Avok would be the one that would be most familiar with that experience.
I hate fucking magic sometimes.
And again, you guys have teleported before. You have never had that experience. Teleportation, especially Willow, you use teleportation circles on a daily basis back in the Platinum City. It's never been painful. Teleportation is not a painful experience. So whatever just happened was not normal and shouldn't have happened. As you guys are all there, the first thing you guys notice is the smell is very different. You know, even being in the enclosed teleportation room, you could smell the sea spray. You could smell the fragrance of his flower, his floating garden, and everything like that. It permutated. It filled everywhere. Now you guys are smelling. For Kata, for you, you are instantly taken back to your island that you called home for so long. You smell trees and dew on the grass and dirt and earth. And as you look around, you're sitting on this heavily wooded area with this thick carpet of grass underneath it and these big, strong trees above it. Not really like the more tropical environment that you grew up in, Kata, but this is still like you are in the center of nature. And then as you guys look around, you can see 2 of the King's Guard are currently unconscious. The other two are slowly kind of getting up. You can see some piles of something on the ground next to them, making you think that they probably didn't enjoy the experience either. And you can see Tolan kind of standing in the center of the group, just kind of smiling at you all, and then he drops to the ground, completely unconscious. As he drops, the Lord Commander runs, apparently at the same time as Fade. You guys both get there about the same time. He's slightly faster than you, so he gets there like half a second earlier. And he comes over and he's trying to wake him up, and nothing's worked. Like he is, he doesn't really show any life right now. His breathing is incredibly shallow to the point where, without focusing on it, you almost could mistake him for being dead. And as he's doing that, the Lord Commander is sitting there and trying to figure out what's going on, and then he looks at you, Fade, and he picks up the glaive that he was carrying with him. He kind of dropped it, picks it up, and just kind of points it at you and goes, "What did you do?"
Nothing. That clearly took a lot out of him. I mean, you saw how many people he just moved.
And he's looking around.
Can I try to help him?
He relaxes for a second. He's like, "Can you do anything to help him?"
I think we can certainly try. I'll go over to him if I can.
Okay. Yeah. No, you're right next to him. You got to him half a second after the Lord Commander did. So
well, first thing I want to see if I can discern if it is truly just exhaustion. I mean, that's
make a medicine check.
But 24.
If it's exhaustion, it's unlike one that you've seen before. You've seen spells go bad, and you've seen people that have been punished with magical torture. It looks like he's been magically tortured.
Ugh.
Like it leaves kind of a resonance, and yeah, it wasn't lethal. Like you're relatively certain he's still alive. But as you kind of think over your own symptoms and stuff like that, you think he went through the same thing that you guys did, only a more extreme version of it.
I would like to try to feed him one of these regular healing potions to get him awake so we can talk to him.
Okay. So as you sit there and kind of you take the potion out, the first thing the Lord Commander does is he takes the potion from you, and he kind of smells it, and then again it just kind of dawns on him that he's being kind of an ass, and he gives it back to you. And as you try to force it down his throat, he coughs a little bit. His eyes open up and goes, "Well, that was fun. Is everybody here?"
Look at the Lord Commander.
"Yes. What did you do, you fool?" "Got everybody here. I thought that was what you wanted." And he drops him kind of hard. And you hear him kind of grunt, "Ugh. You know, your bedside manner is atrocious. I really think..." "Shut up." He goes to his guards. "Wake them up. Find a way to get us battle ready. Figure out where we are." He turns to the rest of you. "Rest. I'm assuming this was as difficult for you as it was for me and my men. We still have..." And he tries to look out. "Damn it. You," and he points to one of his guard. "Find the sun. Figure out what time it is." And you see him kind of drop the spear he was carrying and just start climbing a tree. 'Cause the-
Can I? Do I have enough strength to do the same?
Yeah, you're. I'll need a.
Athletics?
Yeah, I'll need an athletics check.
Oh,
So it's still gonna be.
fine.
It's gonna be rough, but you're used to climbing trees, so.
All right. Afternoon. 12.
12. Okay. You're not wearing like heavy armor. So
Yeah,
it
no,
takes
no.
you you're a little bit upset with how long it takes you. Like it takes you a good 5 minutes to get up the tree, which is a really bad time for you. But you're able to make it up, and you're able to make it up much faster than the guy with the full armor. That he eventually, like as he starts climbing, he realizes that it's a futile effort, and so he starts taking pieces of his armor off before you just kind of start leaping up. And then he just, you can, as you get to the top of the tree, you kind of look down, and he's just kind of, he points at you, and then he looks at the Lord Commander, and the Lord Commander just shakes his head. Just wake them up. As you get up, you notice that it looks like it's a mid-morning-ish. So the transportation was instantaneous. You know, you guys didn't lose any time or anything like that, but yeah, it was not enjoyable. And you guys do know that the meeting is supposed to happen. It's supposed to start around like noonish, 1. So you guys have a couple of hours before this meeting is supposed to start, and you still have to find the location because you don't technically know where you are right now.
Do I see like any landmarks that would give a possible location?
Make me a survival check.
Okay. 24.
24. Yeah. You're able to look in the distance. You're able to see the end of the forest that you're in, and you're able to see really far because you're relatively like you're probably a good 25 feet up in the air. It's a big tree. You're able to get rough bearings. You're not able to see the sea from where you are, so you know you're relatively far inland. And based on where the forest ends, you think you know where the closest big city is, Ral Enthius. You're relatively certain you know the rough direction it is, and so doing some basic calculations, you think you guys are probably technically only about 20 minutes away from the location you're supposed to be at.
I climb down and relay this information as best I can.
Okay. So the Lord Commander looks at you and goes, "Thank you. Well, take a rest. Bandage yourself if you need it. We will start for the meeting location in an hour. Hopefully, my wise friend will be conscious by then." And you hear kind of muttering, "I'm fine. Just give me a few minutes and a drink, and I will be lovely. Does anyone have some gin?" So you guys have time for a short rest. Anything you guys want to do now that you're back on the mainland in roughly an hour's worth of time?
No.
Cool. All right. So
Um,
Nothing.
Yeah, as long as there's no like wild animals coming towards us.
I mean, you're in the middle of a forest. There are some wild animals. Nothing dangerous.
Okay.
I'd probably set up an alarm spell around us just out of habit anyway,
Okay.
just because it's a ritual, so
Yep.
just walk around and do that.
So after an hour, you see Talon is doing better. He's still not walking really, really well, but he's conscious. He's cognizant, and he's like, "Yes, I'm fine. Just a little more rough than I remember it being. Once you all fix everything, that will be a much smoother ride. Let me tell you." So the meeting places, and he just starts walking off, kind of staggering off. You guys following, I'm assuming?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm
So,
not interested.
again, you guys, it takes roughly about 20 minutes for you guys to get there. And as you get to the place, you instantly know that you're in the right place. It's a clearing. You can see there are some stones and things like that that have been put in a circular pattern, probably by druids many, many years ago, because the stones are covered in moss and vines and stuff like that. But this is obviously a sacred place. And as you guys get there, Avok, the first thing you notice is you guys you feel kind of the familiar feeling of being watched. And before you can kind of figure out where it's coming from, out of the shadows, you see Soligny walking towards you. And she sees you, and she's like, "So, you're still alive, are you?"
What, you really doubted me?
"Well, a girl can hope, can't she?"
That
And she
hurts.
comes over and gives you a quick hug and kind of whispers in your ear, "Glad to see you're safe." And then she sees the rest of you. "Well, I guess I wasn't expecting to see any of you again, and you," and she turns towards Willow, "you."
I go in front of Willow in a protective stance. If blame anyone, blame me for not knowing what would happen had Big keep coin. But even though Willow able to protect herself, I not let you hurt someone who come for us to help. She's the reason we have advantage right now.
"I'll deal with you later." And she turns around and she sees the 5 Dragonborn standing there. And as the Lord Commander steps forward, you guys hear a very familiar and you see an arrow land in the ground right in front of him.
So
And
call off the archers.
Immediately, the guards get into defensive positions and things like that, and Soligny holds up her hand. And she kind of looks at the Lord Commander and she goes, "I apologize. We've not seen your kind in a very, very long time. My gods are protective of me, as they should
That's
be.
interesting.
I am the Lord Commander of Draconis." "To whom am I speaking?" "I am Soligny. I am currently the leader of the 3 Wood Elves." And then as that's happening, you guys hear from behind you, "And I just happen to be the happiest person to be here. There's so many smiling faces, kind-hearted souls, and the like." And you see another person that, for the life of me, I cannot remember their name. Mental health is fun, guys. You see the captain of the Black Sails and the leader of the Black Sail coming forward, and he immediately goes up to Solinye, takes her hand, and gives it a kiss, and goes, "Oh, a more beautiful creature I have never seen in all my years." And Solinye kind of gives Avok a knowing look and goes, "Oh, it's so nice to meet such a polite and refined gentleman amongst all these savage brutes. I must say I am simply taken by your incredible command of the English language." And then two arrows kind of plop right next to him. And he jumps back and he's like, "Oh, I am so very sorry about that. My gods don't fall for that kind of shtick." And she just does like an about face and walks back into the clearing a little more. He's like, "Ah, I like them when they're hard to get."
Dude, fuck off.
And as that happened, you hear another voice. "Aye, Solinye, it's not nice to be attacking our newfound allies like that. I seen the ship this bugger comes from. It's got quite a bit of, let's call it treason there." And you guys see the captain coming forward with a couple members of his crew.
I want to do the predator thing.
Captain, you son of a bitch.
Aye. And he comes over and he kind of slaps you on the back and everything. "You son of a... I was kind of hoping to see your corpse amongst, a pile of Eladrin corpse, at least 10 feet high. I guess we're going to have to
That might
wait.
still happen.
And the rest of you, it's nice to see that no one is dead just yet. Fade, you
Thanks.
seem less annoying than usual."
Yes, thank you. You too, sir. It's good to see you, sir.
And
missed you,
I
sir.
assume, and he turns to the Lord Commander, he's like, "I assume this must be a representative from the Dragonborn. You know, it's been quite a while since we've seen any of your kind out here." And he says, "Yes. Well, we have a common enemy." "Aye, we've had a common enemy for a bloody 300 years. Never gave you a reason to come out here before, did it?" "We have had our own issues to work through." "Fine. Well, let's hope those issues don't prevent you from doing what you're supposed to do now. So I don't know when this get-together is starting. I don't like leaving my ship exposed as she is right now." And as you guys are all standing there, you hear this loud crashing sound through the undergrowth, and this metallic scraping sound. And you see this enormous creature made out of metal that looks like it was just scrap metal that has been animated by something. And walking out from the forest, you can see a dwarven gentleman with one arm that has these gizmos on, and goes, "Well, seems I haven't missed the meeting yet. Hello, everyone. It's been a long time since I've seen any of you. By the way, this is Fluffy, for those of you unaware." And the creature just kind of grinds and grunts.
Willow
So-
is fascinated.
Yeah, it's an arcane construct that you've never seen its like before. And as you guys get ready, Elaine, you feel in the back of your head a very familiar feeling as the presence of your dragon master kind of floods your consciousness and goes, "Elaine, if you would allow me the use of your voice, I wish to address this gathering myself.
Very well.
So you guys watch as Elaine kind of gets glassy-eyed for a little bit, and then his mannerisms change drastically. He stands up straight, his shoulders broaden a little bit, and he walks directly towards the Dragonborn. And somebody say the name one more time for me, because my brain is not working at all right now.
The dragon.
Of the dragon, yes, please.
Athlonel.
Athanel. He goes over to the Lord Commander and goes, I am Athlanel, ruler of the Kael Isles. And you see the Lord Commander looks a little bit taken aback, and you see the other Dragonborn a little bit taken aback as well, because Elaine's voice has changed, and not like a puberty kind of change. Like, he's acting very bizarre right now. And you watch as the Lord Commander kind of looks at his troops, and then he goes down on one knee, and he goes, Lord Athlanel, I was not aware you fell hundreds of years ago. The stories are still told amongst my people. Yes, I was captured, imprisoned for hundreds of years. But the rumors of my demise were slightly exaggerated. Shall we get this meeting to order? And finally, you guys hear, well, if everybody is here, I guess it's time for us all to talk and get to know each other. So why don't we start with trust falls? Who wants to go first?
I'd be gladly. Why don't we start with you? Avok trips him.
As he hits the ground, he lands on his arm and kind of uses the momentum to kind of flip himself back up in a kind of strange amount of acrobatics that you weren't kind of expecting him to do. And he just kind of turns to you and is like, well, I don't trust you anymore. Okay, no trust falls. And Soligny goes, really? Is this the person that has gotten us all here? Because if this is the person that has come up with this plan, I now no longer believe this is a good idea. I'm not saying I thought it was a great idea before, but let me explain, everyone. Willow, you explain. And he just kind of sits down on one of the rocks.
I glance at everybody else, glance anxiously at Soligny, hoping that she's actually going to listen, and say, thank you all for coming. Several months ago, I escaped from beneath the Platinum City. Because I have found a way out, we have a way in. All of you are gathered here to hopefully help us take down the Council of One. As crazy as that seems, I know. It is crazy.
His name's Christopher, by the way.
His name is apparently Christopher. We've kind of learned that, and she points at Talon.
Yes, he doesn't like that name, though. He came up with his Council of One thing on his own. I think it's a perfectly respectable name. What do I know, though? I'm simply the best friend. I must admit, my fashion sense is much better than his. Go on, I apologize.
Willow just looks at him awkwardly, not really sure of how to be the center of attention, but keeps going. So yes, we have this kind of crazy plan to enter through a secret way and to get into the Council of One's chambers and stop his rule. Yes. As some of you have heard at this point, he has developed a new weapon, a flying magical airship that can rain down terrible destruction to everyone, and if he is not stopped now, we will all be dead.
I don't think any of us are disagreeing with the fact that these airships give him power that he shouldn't have. But I've been to the Platinum City. I've been to the Lower City. Eladrin have never seen the Council of One, much less the rest of us. He is in the single most guarded place in the entirety of the Platinum City, which happens to be one of the most fortified cities in the entire world. I mean, we're talking about an almost impossibility here.
I know, but where I escaped from, there was a teleportation circle.
And that's where I come in. You see, the teleportation circles throughout the Platinum City, I designed them. I know how they work. I know the specific magics that are used to lock them and unlock them, and which ones will transport you where, and I happen to know how to basically adjust one of them in particular to take us directly to the Council of One. We won't have to fight through the Platinum City. We won't have to go through the Upper City. We can go right to his audience chamber that he never leaves. However, there's an issue. You see, I can perform the magic and I can change the teleportation circle and get our friends where they need to go. But it will take time. And the Council of One knows me very well. He will know as soon as I start tampering with things, and will have no problem bringing the entirety of his army against me to stop me from doing exactly what it is I plan to do. And that's where you all come in. And Soligny perks up. So what you're saying is you need people to die. No, not die. Simply distract. If you think your deaths will be a grand distraction, I'm certainly not going to tell you not to die. But the purpose of your excursion will not be your death. More of just being as annoying as possible. And after speaking with you for just a couple of moments, I don't think that should be a problem for you at all. Another arrow lands in the ground near him. I was joking.
So, we're asking you guys to draw his gaze away from us. That's all. Not asking you to lay down your lives on a suicide mission, just to keep his eyes off us.
Eivor, have you ever actually been on the Platinum City?
Let's just say that's how this whole shit started for me.
Well, then you know it doesn't matter where we attack from. I've got a single ship. They've got a bloody fleet. They've got an army garrisoned in the city, simply waiting for something to do. What I mean, even if we have the entirety of the Black Sail and the Dragonborn fleet, whatever in the hell that is, We're talking about the most powerful naval force in the history of the world. And what are we supposed to do? Just sit there and hope that they'll focus on us? Well, that may not be entirely what we need to do. Yes, I was actually going to say that. Yes, the docks are technically both the least protected and the most protected portions of the Platinum City simultaneously. They're the least protected because there's no walls there. There's docks, and there are ships. So yes, a large fleet could come in and attempt to take over the outer city by landing at the docks, which is why they have a sizable fleet that stays very near the docks so that they can protect it. However, there is more than one entry into the Platinum City, and there are a few entries that only the Eladrin are supposed to know about. So, instead of just putting all of our forces into what would potentially be a death trap, if we have this dwarven captain here, you obviously sailed under the Eladrin for many years. I, of course, I did. Have the finest crew in the entire fleet. Yes, that's what I'm saying. You know their tactics. You know exactly how they will react. You could act as the head of a fleet of the Black Sails, simply harassing them, doing everything you can, using every tactic they know against them to draw their naval forces out. Simultaneously, the Lord Commander and his dragonborn troops are very skilled in the art of warfare. They have had a lot of time to practice, let's say, on their own. Their Eldritch Knights and their sorcerers are easily a match for some of the Eladrin troops. If you attack from a hidden entrance that leads directly into the lower city, they will have no choice but to split their forces between protecting the lower city and the innocent Eladrin that are there, and defending themselves against this wave of ships coming out of nowhere. And then simultaneously, if your large pointy friend over here and your wood elven brethren were to attack from the main gate, that would give them a third front that they would have to defend. Your rangers and your druids would be able to force the gate open and fire your arrows through and create a lot of havoc there, thus splitting their force in 3 separate directions while we secretly make our way underneath the city. So a 3-pronged simultaneous attack might do it. And everyone is silent for a while. Avok, knowing Solinye, you can tell that she's mulling this over much more seriously than you thought that she would.
Oh, yeah.
You kind of expected her to just kind of throw it out and just be done with this, but she seems to be genuinely considering it. Elaine, you suddenly feel your body kind of move forward. And what would you have of me? And Talon turns and goes, well, aside from the very interesting vocal changes you've had, I assumed you would be coming with us. Not the owner of this body. The ancient gold dragon that is currently addressing you. Oh! 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 We have a dragon! We have a dragon! We have a dragon! Oh! You may have a dragon. Though my years of captivity have taken their toll on me. I may be able to help in a limited capacity. Well, when you say limited, exactly what are we talking about here? Do you still have the ability to breathe fire? Can you still fly? Yes, on both counts. Though my endurance may not last very long. Then, this opens up so many possibilities. We have a dragon and fire, and gold dragon fires is very hot, and it can melt things, and it can set ships on fire, and this is lovely. Let's see. Well, actually, I think I've got a bit of a plan for that. Military strategy generally is going to be, we're not going to have anywhere near enough ships to do much of anything. So their plan is going to be, they're going to try to outmaneuver us, try to get us into a crossfire, and then take us out one by one, boarding the few ships that they can't take down with cannon fire. This is standard operating procedure. If we were to let them think that they were doing well, you might be able to come in, destroy half the fleet, and force them to retreat, giving us a bit of an edge as we push them further and further away from the Platinum City itself. You'd have to have a vantage point to see when they've got us mostly surrounded. And then what we need you to do is attack the ships that were closest to the Platinum City, basically making a wall of burning ships, preventing them from aiding the Platinum City. I mean, you could probably do it in 1 or 2 flyovers and then go back and rest. By the gods. This is a real thing. We might actually be able to do this.
Captain, I hate to be the sour pansy here. We're forgetting one teeny weeny little detail. They're airships. They still have some.
Aye. We saw what they could do when they attacked the base. If I know the commander of the fleet, he will send the airships against us. Preferably after they've surrounded us, when we still think that we have a chance, they'll send the airships out to demoralize us. That's when the dragon strikes. He takes out half the fleet. We can focus our ballistae on piercing the hulls of these ships. Electrum is not that strong a metal. Taking out as many as we can. When they see a dragon flying around, they will have other things to worry about. Enough time for us to take down as many of them as we can. The rest will have to fly around trying to avoid ballista fire and our own archers and whatever else we can come up with. Perhaps we can borrow a few of your druids to give us a wee bit more, let's say, surprises for them. And then once they get their acts together, the dragon will be gone, we'll be on our way out, and hopefully you lot will already be in the council chamber facing off against the Council of One.
If it helps, the sails are made of spider silk, so they may be flammable enough that you can get some of them to fall out of the sky.
Aye. All my men will be armed with flaming arrows. And mine too. If I have some of the finest sharpshooters in the world. We should be able to take at least a few of those flying monstrosities down. And you see the captain's face get very serious. He's like, this is a real thing. Do you realize what you're proposing? And he turns to Fade and actually walks over. Do you realize what it is that you're doing here? When you get in there, your family's still in there. Your friends, they still believe in the Council of One. They still believe in the Eladrin Navy. Are you okay with that?
Some things are more important.
All right. Well, I know what I need to do. I'll work with the Black Sails to teach them a few of our tactics so they'll be ready for them. My troops should be here, well, with the sorcerers and everything, they can be here within a day's time. They'll be winded, but ready for battle. And Saulnier turns, my people are already ready. We've been prepared to fight the Eladrin and have been fighting them for centuries while you've been hiding behind your walls.
So,
We're ready to go now. So as soon as your troops arrive, we can do this. Well, that just leaves our little intrepid party of adventurers here.
It does.
yep, we got this.
Well, then I guess everyone should start getting ready. We will attack. You said they should be here within a day? Yes. Well then, we will attack in 2 days. In the morning. This is going to be fun, isn't it? You lot, come with me. We have to discuss more specifics of what's going on here. And you see Talon kind of walk away. And everyone else kind of breaks off. Saulnier starts walking back towards the forest. Begins to just kind of disappear into the forest. As she's been known to do. As you guys come over to where Talon is, he goes, so, one other minor caveat, really just a slight addendum. I won't be able to do anything to help you once you meet with Christopher.
You mentioned.
Once I change how the teleportation circle works, they're not designed to work that way. The whole system will become unstable, and I'll have to do my best to contain the damage so everyone doesn't die. So you will be on your own.
Yeah.
Well, you took that much better than I thought you would.
Can you give us some sort of a layout from wherever we'll end up so that we can find where we're supposed to go?
Well, the council chambers themselves are a large circular room with a very high vaulted ceiling. The last time I was there were 13 thrones in a semicircle towards the back of this room, with the tallest throne being where Christopher sat. Now, directly behind his throne is the device he uses to siphon the life energy and extend his life. The device itself is massive. It's one of the reasons why it's hidden in the upper city. But the control systems for it are in his throne room. When you get there, the rest of the ruling council are still there. And you see his mannerisms have changed rather distinctly. When I fled, he had made the decision that he wasn't getting enough energy from the populace itself, that he needed more. And so he called a meeting of the ruling council. And when they all sat down, magical restraints were formed and trapped them in their thrones. These were incredibly powerful magical entities. They each held enough power to rule over this land. And for the past 200 years have been sitting in their thrones, being slowly drained of their life force and kept alive in a perverted form of limbo. So when you get there, no matter what they do or say, they are not Eladrin. They are not beings. They are batteries. And should be treated as such. Do you understand?
There's nowhere to free them.
There's nothing left to free.
We have to kill them.
Mercy killing. Easy enough.
Christopher will not let you near the device. By the time you get up there, he will know that you know what I'm about to tell you. He will know that if you get access to the device, you can shut it down, you can damage it, you can destroy it. He will not let you near it. And he has abilities that you have never seen before. Understand your goal must be the machine and the batteries. For if you take those out, he becomes mortal. He has the ability to be beaten. Until you do, you have no hope of doing anything to him. He is simply too powerful. Do you understand?
Yeah, simple enough.
Okay. He then spends the next basically hour talking with you guys, most of it going over your guys' heads. Willow and Fade, you guys are the ones that understand it best. Talking basically how the machine works, what parts of it you can actually damage, what parts of it you can kind of interface with to turn it off, and what parts of it you want to leave alone, because if you break those parts, then it explodes instead of turning off. And the Kael Isles turns into a really, really great crater
That kind of explosion. Okay.
Yeah. Again,
The
Fade, you would know,
very
and Willow,
clear.
you might know as well. The the council chamber is at the top of the Platinum Spire, which is this massive 100-story tall building. That the only room in it is this council chamber at the top. The entirety of the spire is the device. So, there's a lot to it. But he gives you guys the basic building blocks of, this is what you can destroy, this is what you can't destroy, and gives you guys actually a couple different ways that you can actually turn the device off. Those that are more arcane focused, there are arcane ways to do it. Those of you that are a little bit more focused on me hit things with heavy objects, there are ways that can work as well. So he gives you guys, like I said, for an hour or two, spends describing the device and telling you guys what you can and can't do. Which during that will turn into you guys will be able to make ability checks to see if you can wreck or damage it in a way that it works.
Okay.
In a bunch of different ways. So, yeah. Any questions that you guys have for Talon?
I think there's nothing to say. It just has to happen.
Okay.
Is there any specific method that Christopher likes to use in his attacks? Anything that we should be aware of?
He is a commander. He is not needed to get his hands dirty in a very long time, and has no problem using people to get what he wants, let's say. So, don't be surprised that even if he appears to be alone, he isn't. He's a very powerful magic user, and can conjure all manner of unspeakable evils. He will more likely than not first attempt to overwhelm you, and if that doesn't work, he will then try to destroy you himself. But despite the fact that there are no living Eladrin up there, he is anything but alone. And simply destroying the creatures he creates does not mean that they will not come back, or that worse things won't appear. Again, he has had a very long time to learn all manner of unspeakable acts.
Thank you for your help.
Well, I'm going to go get some rest. It's been quite a day. I suggest if you have anything left to say to anyone, you probably should. Who knows where we'll be in a couple days. Or if any of us will be at all. And he wanders off. So now you guys are alone with each other.
Well,
Kata collapses to the ground, relieved that everything seems to be okay.
Okay. You're, again, very thick blanket of grass beneath you. Very soft.
Willow sits down next to her.
Okay.
Thank you. Really got it.
No problem. Yeah.
Well, I have a few thoughts and strategies and things, but I don't know if anyone's in the mood to talk about that right now.
I think we really won't know what we're going to do until we get there. Although I already know what I plan to do, and that's just beat the ever living shit out of anything that goes against me.
Of course.
I'll join you guys in a little while. And then he goes to try to find a private spot in the woods.
Not too difficult. Again, it's a relatively heavily wooded area. But there's not going to be anywhere like where you can lock a door or anything, but you can get away
Sure.
from people without too much difficulty.
I will do that because I would like to try one last ditch effort to talk to the one who's kind of in control of my destiny.
Okay.
And I will kneel down and kind of throw the bones, so to speak, and just set up a mild effigy
Okay.
and try to say a prayer, see if I can get her to talk to me.
Okay. As
Hang on, Jody, for 1 second.
sure.
Okay, never mind. Continue.
Fine.
It was, yeah, I had an idea, but it was depending on how well Avoc's insight was, and it's not good, so
Okay.
forget it.
So Fade, as you sit down and you start to pray, you've done this quite a few times before. As you try as hard as you can, the only thing that you get after hours upon hours of supination and prayer and is and nothing for hours upon hours, you eventually feel kind of a cold hand just kind of press against your shoulder and just squeeze it ever so slightly. And that's it.
And that is more than he was hoping for. He just wants to make sure that this is something that she does not want to prevent, I guess.
It
Another way
felt
to put that.
encouraging.
So, yeah.
So, but yeah, with that, you kind of feel your connection with the Dark Lady not really sever, but kind of go into like a holding pattern. Like you, until something changes, you don't think you're going to be able to contact the Dark Lady again. She used the last of her ability to contact you to give you that one last message, and now you have your spells, and that's about it.
So be it. And later on, after some quiet time, just kind of thinking to myself, what could possibly happen, trying to think of worst case scenarios, how to react to those type of situations. So we'll go find the group. After about, I'd say probably half an hour after everything.
Okay.
That
So
was it.
the rest of you guys, is there anything else that you guys want to do before heading off to bed?
Just review my new spells, do some tinkering to calm my nerves.
Oh yeah, there's going to be some spell list changes this evening.
Okay. So when you guys wake up the next day, you really don't have time to do much of anything. You're traveling to the city itself. You guys specifically are meeting with the rest of the group, and you're discussing final plans and everything like that. Yeah, you guys spend the rest of the day getting into position with Willow kind of dictating where you guys are going, and you make your camp on the northern side of the Platinum City since that's the closest area to this underground area, and kind of prepare for the dawn. So you guys, the next day, you guys wake up pre-dawn. You is there any prep work you guys want to do at the start of the day? You know that in a couple of hours the battle is going to start. So
Yeah, I'm going to basically have prepared, as soon as I start waking up, a small ritual, which was specifically designed for Kata and giving her a little bit of an edge for the day's events. The spell is actually called, what I'm doing is Coming of Age. And I'll tell you what the exact benefits of that are, but that's just something that takes like an hour, and everyone should be involved. Just kind of a group bonding experience kind of thing. And I'll try to throw in some extra Dark Lady pamphlet material just to get everybody on board.
Have you heard the good news of our Lord and Savior, the Dark Lady?
Hello, my name is Elder Fade.
That's it. That's all I got.
So it gets to the appointed hour. You guys are kind of waiting, and you're waiting for, because you're close enough to the city that you're not really going to be able to see the sea battle or anything like that, but you will definitely hear it. And so as you guys are sitting there, you start seeing along the horizon, the sun starts to come up, and you know that the signal for the ships to start their attack is the first, when the sun first crests the horizon is when they're supposed to start attacking. And so you guys see the first lights of the sun crest the horizon, and you wait for a second, a little bit more, and a few minutes pass, and then you hear these distant sounds of like thunder. And as you look over, you can see the horizon over by where the battle should be taking place has started to become a little bit darker. As smoke is rising, you can see little flashes of red every so often from that general area. And the battle has begun. Talon gets everyone together. You guys have a small kind of like longboat that you're going to take in because you have to go in by water. And so it goes, all right, everyone, into the boat. It's time for us to go and surprise some old friends. Any other prep work before you guys head in?
Just to clarify, once we get to the teleportation circle and we go up, how long will we have to travel between being there and getting to the throne room?
You will be teleported to. You will be teleported to the council chamber.
Okay.
So you will be teleported directly into the council chamber.
Perfect. Then
there technically there's no way to get into the chamber any other way. Like there's no doors or stairs or anything in there.
Right. Okay. Cool. So then while we are on the boat, I let everyone know that I'm going to be casting my ritual telepathic bond so that we have it. It'll last an hour, so I want to wait till we're close to the shore. But
you guys are like you're going to be inside the cave within a few minutes here. Like you were that close. Because nobody knows about this entrance or exit, or no one's supposed to know about it, so it's not guarded or anything. You camped just outside it, around the corner. So if anyone came out, they wouldn't have seen you. But yeah,
and
you guys.
We're on the way across, that's what I'm doing.
Okay. So as you guys get in, Willow, you instantly are kind of have flashbacks back to when you were under the Gaia spell. You have that same you smell that same scent. That you smelt before, a combination of ozone-like smell of magic just constantly being cast, and sea spray, and kind of the rot of unbathed humans and things like that. And as you guys enter, I would like you all to roll for initiative.
Oh,
In the boat on the way over, I would
Mhm.
have tried to real sneakily cast Death Ward on Willow. Just give her a pat on the back,
Okay.
kind of thing.
Well, good, because my initiative roll is 1.
oh, really?
Yep.
Be just a few seconds for me to get the actual tracking program up. Because I was totally prepared for this, being the amazing dungeon master that I am. I'm never not prepared.
You are not prepared.
All right, Elaine, what you got?
Hold on.
All right, I'll come back to you. Avok, what you got?
18.
Willow, what you got? 1.
1.
Fade, what you got?
10.
10. Kata, what you got?
10.
Cool. Elaine, you got me an initiative?
Yeah. Hold on, math. 11.
11. Cool. Wow. This is going to be fun.
Wait, would initiative count as an ability check?
No, it doesn't.
Okay, just checking.
All right. So between Fade and Kata, which one of you guys wants to go first?
Faye, do go first.
Okay.
All right. So as you guys come in, Willow, you were kind of expecting to see a couple of guards in here, and then the workers. That some of them are gayest, some of them are not. As you guys come in, the scene is chaotic. Willow, you do see the guards. However, the guards are sitting there. You see bodies already kind of floating in the dock area. You see the guards themselves are kind of attacking some of the people there. And then as they see you, they instantly turn and point their weapons at you and start rushing towards you. And I should probably roll initiative for the guards. It looks like there is a total of 6 guards that you can see, armed with a combination of sword and shields, and some of them have crossbow or have longbows. I mean, and they are going to go first.
Oh, dear.
And they're going to spend most of their turn running towards you guys and getting ready. 3 of them step back and loose arrows towards you, but they can't really tell who the biggest threat is because no one has done anything yet. So they're going to be kind of random in their target choice. Avok, you get 1. Elaine, you get 1. And Fade, you get 1. So Avok, does a 17 hit you?
Just hits me.
All right.
That's pretty well.
10 damage.
Okay.
10 piercing damage as an arrow pierces you. Elaine, does a 24 hit you? I'm assuming yes.
Oh, God, yeah.
6 piercing damage as an arrow comes and pierces you, and then Fade, 12.
Negative.
And you don't even have to sidestep it. The arrow just flies past you. First up is going to be Avok. Avok, the boat has just hit the landing. The closest guards are about 50 feet away, and the guards that stepped back and took out their longbows are about 80 feet away. And the teleportation circle is about 120 feet away from you guys. It's there. The guards are between you and them. You did notice that one of the guards had a stone in his hand that he seemed to be screaming at when you guys came in.
Dibs.
He was one of the ones in the front. So
Good. Although he's still out of my range because I can only go up to 40 feet without dashing. Damn it.
Anywho, I'm going to use my bonus action to go ragey.
Okay.
So,
So you guys watch as Avok, his muscles start to flex, his eyes get bloodshot. He
yeah, my
lets out.
muscles flex, and that arrow that shot at me just bing comes out. Yeah.
It break. He flexes his shoulders, and the shaft just breaks off.
Yeah. All right, boys. Get the fuck out of the way, or I'm just gonna kill you. Let's face it.
Okay, and I go up my 40 feet and ready in action to attack whoever decides to swing at me.
Cool. Elaine, you are up next.
Okay, so we're just gonna that guy that hit me. He's gonna. I don't even remember what I have. It's been so long. I'm sorry. I had to get the flu last time. It sucked.
Oh.
We're gonna stab that guy. No, we're gonna dragon whip that guy. I have that thing.
Well,
I
again, you
forgot.
guys are all the closest people to you right now are 50 feet away are the guys with swords and shields, and 80 feet away are the ones with bows and arrows.
Cunning action.
Okay.
Just gonna go run in there. Oh god.
Are you gonna dragon transform or?
No, we're gonna save that.
Okay.
We are going to save that. No, we're just gonna do regular dragon tail attack.
Okay. So I'm assuming you get within 10 feet of the sword and shield guys, or
Whoever hit me, whoever shot me.
well, what's your speed?
It's 30. 60.
30.
No,
So you can
I
only
can't
go a
get to
maximum
that.
of 60 feet. You wouldn't be able to get to the archers because they're 80
Whichever
feet away.
shield guy is close to the archer that shot me.
Okay. So one of the dudes with the sword and shield. Go ahead and make your attack roll with your dragon tail.
I'm rolling great today. I rolled a 6 plus. I'm assuming 7. Was that 13?
13 is not quite enough. So you first come up and you guys watch as the dragon tail that's kind of embedded in his wrist comes out, and he kind of swings it around and comes around once, and the Eladrin is not really kind of prepared for that, and he just kind of holds his shield up and it smacks his shield. I believe I don't know. You're level 10 now, right?
I have extra
Yeah, we're
attack.
level 10.
Okay. So
Level
you
10.
so you have more attacks. What would I'm assuming you'd like to keep attacking?
I try and grapple him with the tail.
Okay. That'll be an acrobatics check versus his. It's going to be athletics for him because that's what he's better at.
Why?
What'd you get?
I rolled. Let's see. You said acrobatics. Or my acrobatics or my athletics?
Your acrobatics, because you're using your dragon tail, you can
I rolled a
you can do a cool grapple with acrobatics, like you should be able to do.
I rolled a 10.
You rolled a 10. So as you sit there, you try and wrap him up with your dragon tail. He's able to kind of dodge out of it and move out of it without being grappled. Anything else you want to do? I think that's everything you have.
That's everything.
All right, Fade, you are up.
Someone take me out of the game.
I will see this happening and try to. I will run my full movement of 30 feet towards them, making sure to block view of the guys behind me. And on the way, I'm going to empower my gauntlet
Okay.
and hold up my shield. And that's it.
All right, Kata, you're up. You watch as Fade runs forward, touches his hand to his gauntlet, and it starts to glow brightly with this kind of deep indigo glow. And he runs forward and just kind of prepares himself with his shield and his gauntlet.
Is there like a group of them that I could possibly hit with a spell?
Definitely. The 3 dudes with swords are right next to each other. The 3 dudes with bows are right next to each other. They weren't really expecting you guys to come, so they're not thinking the finer points of tactics right now.
Then I'm going to conjure a tidal wave if that's
Yeah,
that's okay.
sure.
They need to make a dex save.
How big an area can you hit with it?
Up to 30 feet long, 10 feet wide, and 10 feet tall. I don't want to hit anyone friendly.
What's the range
Yeah,
on that?
super easy. Do you want to hit? Do you want to hit the archers, or do you want to hit the dudes with sword and shields?
Archers.
Archers, yeah.
Cool. What's your spell save DC?
16.
Well, that's 2 failures. That's a whole lot of failures. They were not expecting a tidal wave in an underground cavern for some weird reason.
We did touch down a beach.
Yeah, but still, you don't generally have tidal waves in a cavern. So they were unprepared for that.
22 points of bludgeoning damage, and they are all prone.
All right, so you watch as Kata starts running forward, and she kind of plants her feet, and then she focuses, and you see her just raise her arms, and this huge wall of water appears, arcs over you guys, arcs over the sword and shield guys, and just smashes into the ground, obliterating these guys. What was the total damage?
22.
22. They look rough. You're relatively certain you are no longer invited to their birthday party. Anything else you want to do with your turn?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Willow, you are up.
I am going to cast Mage Armor on myself.
Okay. Since you knew that this was coming, you could have had that prepared.
But in the boat, I was casting Telepathic Bond.
Oh, okay. Then never mind. You cast Mage Armor. Cool.
Yep. So that's
you guys
my
watch
action.
as Willow, like these mystical pieces of armor, kind of form around her.
And let's see. I don't really want to. So Kata just took dramatically down 3 of them, and there's 3 more.
Yeah, there's 3 with swords and shields, and then the 3 with bows are prone and bleeding.
Excellent. Okay. Then I'm at this point going to try and just stay out of the way, flank around, and start heading towards the teleportation circle.
Okay. Which is directly behind these guys. They've positioned themselves between you and the teleportation circle.
Right.
You watch as Talon comes over and just kind of flicks his wrist, and you see this tiny beam of red shoot out. And then a large explosion happens.
Fireballs, young.
You know, I'm not going to roll for all these people. I rolled for both groups. You watch him. Is that 66 for fireball?
86.
That's 86.
I think it's 8.
I think you're right.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so you see the guys the archers that are on the ground just kind of get incinerated by this fireball, and you watch as the guys kind of turn around and impose their shields as much as they can, but are still kind of engulfed in this and look really, really rough. That ends that. It brings it up to the top of the turn. They're going to run forward towards you, Avox, since you are the closest target to them.
Okay.
So all 3 of them run
I
towards
can
you.
swing at one of them.
Go for it.
I did run an action for that, so I get to attack twice. That's going to be a 28 to hit.
Yeah. Oh, that definitely hits. Roll damage. I'm sitting here like, math is hard. No, 28 always wins. I don't think I've seen a monster with a 28 AC.
All right, that's 19 damage on the first hit. He has to make a con save.
No, he doesn't.
Oh.
So you take your
It's bad.
axe, blessed by the Dark Lady, and sever him in 2 as he comes
Right.
up. Another one comes forward, and you can see his
can
sword.
Can I use my extra attack on the next one?
That's fine.
Thank
You
you.
see his sword flaring with this green fire as he brings it down to strike you, and
That's a 22 to hit.
still hits. Go ahead and roll damage.
All right. 12, 14 damage.
All right. Now, another one is bisected as you come forward, and the third one comes forward and attacks you with this blade of green flame.
Green flame!
And he rolls like shit. You didn't happen to use whatever the thing that gives me advantage on all the attacks, did you?
No.
No. Okay, then no. He's
Yeah, I don't think he used
he
my
comes
first
up.
attack.
You see this blade coming up, and you block it with your axe, and you see the fire itself just kind of explode in front of you like a mini fireball. And that's the end of his turn, and it's your turn now. And he seems somewhat upset about the fact that he is the only one left standing.
Sucks to be you, man.
That's going to be a 22 to hit. So,
Yeah, definitely hits. Roll damage.
give me a sec. 5, 7, math.
Barbarians always scare me when they're sitting there. It's like, oh, 5, and then we add that. But then I also add that. And then I also the 400 at damage. Barbarians had
That's 12
fighters.
damage.
Okay, he's still upright, barely, but still upright.
Oh, okay. I'll smack him again. 21 to hit.
He's gone. He had a hit point.
Okay.
So as you guys sit there and you're kind of realizing, Willow, as you look around, you see that a lot of the people that you knew are now lying on the floor dead nearby you. It looks like they had started slaughtering everyone that had worked on the project. You do notice a few faces are absent, and you don't see any mangled bodies or anything that could potentially be them. So it's theoretically possible. A, they either got away, or B, they somehow made themselves seem more useful to the Eladrin and are still working with them. Because again, some of you were compelled to be there through magical means. There were some people that were there that were actively, they thought what they were doing was good and were working with the Eladrin. So Talon runs over to the teleportation circle, and you see him start weaving incantations and things like that and doing things, and he's like, blast. All right, I'm working on this, but I need a passphrase. Look around, see if somebody wrote something down, or there's something out there. There's an arcane lock on here, and I need something to get through it. Or else we're going to be here for a very long time. And as he's sitting there going, more people are coming.
Uh,
I run up to Avok and I say, I try to hype him up. I want to keep him upset, so I'm going to actually try to hit him a couple times.
Okay.
Because
It's not
I need
incredibly
him.
difficult.
Yeah,
Especially
all right.
since I'm going to assume, Avok, you're not going to move away from him.
No.
Yep, he comes up and like backhands you with his shield. You take a point of bludgeoning damage.
I want to hit him with the gauntlet. I'm trying to charge up here.
Oh, never mind. He hits you with the gauntlet.
Yeah, for 20 points of damage.
Damn.
I hope that's halved. I hope.
That's why I'm hitting you while you're raging.
Good boy. Okay, so that's 10 points.
And then I'm going to do it again.
Another 10 points.
Meanwhile, Willow is searching, trying to find this.
All right, go ahead and make me an
phrase.
investigation check.
19.
19. Okay. You find this.
Awesome. 15 more damage, Avok, and then I'm going to blow my spell.
Wait, was that the second time you hit me, or?
No, that was another 2. So I hit you for 35 total.
Okay.
17 total, halved.
Right. Okay.
And then I pull an Oprah, and you get a death ward, you get a death ward, you get a death ward.
All right. So everybody is warded from death for the moment.
Including
Willow,
Talon.
as you look this over, the first thing that stands out to you is alcohol. This is a horrible drink. Nothing about this makes sense whatsoever. But if you would be so kind, for the people at home who can't see the note, if you wouldn't mind reading it for us. If you click on it, it'll actually become full size, so you can read it a little easier.
Okay. I'm pronouncing this Phobix. Is that how we were going to... Okay.
Phobix Refreshment is the title.
Phobix Refreshment. The soldiers have found they like this succulent beverage. On my palate, it faintly kneads together the flavors that, when counted, arouse 3 or 4 lowly instincts of the lower rank, and file such as the commandos, whose guerrilla tactics only work with, at maximum, 11 or 12-man teams. Nevertheless, here's the recipe if you care to reward them. Makes 24 servings. 2 bottles of mulled wine, 12 shots of brandy, 48 citrus twists, 2 pounds of ice for shaking and serving. Shaker. 24 lowball glasses for serving. Directions. Mix the mulled wine, brandy, and citrus twists in a large pot. Bring the mixture to just under a boil and simmer for exactly 29 minutes. Then pour each serving into a shaker full of ice and shake exactly 30 times. Then pour into the lowball glass over more ice and garnish with one of the twists. Okay.
So as you search through the notes, like you're seeing all these different things you've seen before, arcane blueprints and things like that, and then you come up with this random journal that as you kind of thumb through it, it's got weird random things, but this page itself stuck out like a sore thumb. And as you read it more, again, with your background in alcoholics, and mixology in general, like nothing about this makes sense. Like this drink doesn't work. Nothing about this really should work the way it describes. The alcohol would be burned up after simmering it for 29 minutes. Half of the water would have been evaporated by then.
But it's in code.
Mm-hmm.
And she quickly starts sketching down, underlining all the things that she's noticing. And
Okay.
so
Boy, I fully can't read right now, and this is like so hard.
I know it's a fun
Yeah.
font.
Yeah. There were
That's okay.
worse fonts I could find.
Oh, I'm sure.
My question is, in the sentence on my palette, it faintly the F capitalized, or is that lowercase?
Yeah, it's of OF.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just typed into the chat. I'm trying to find it now.
Yeah, I got about the same thing.
Awesome.
So as you guys are doing that, you hear a flash of sound as Talon is focusing on this. You see a being appear in the teleportation circle and walk right past him. Walk directly past him and right up to Fade. And Fade, I'd like you to make a wisdom saving throw.
Oh, God.
Well, but okay. Wisdom save. I get a decent bonus too. This journal's in the way. Move, journal. I rolled a 4 plus 9, 13.
All right. So as you look into the eyes of your father, you are somewhat paralyzed with kind of fear as you see him come over to you, and with a gauntleted hand smacks you across the face, drawing blood. You take 2 bludgeoning damage. As you go, "You filthy ingrates! You have embarrassed this family, turned traitor with these half-breeds, and worthless wastes of... And he seems almost incapable of speaking at this point. You are also knocked prone from the blow. What would you like to do?
Can I? Oh God, I want to see if this is real or if this is an illusion. Can I like just magically see if I can figure this shit out?
Yeah, you can make a perception check. You know
Would I
illusions
be
themselves
able to see
under.
if it was illusion?
If you want to make a perception check, you can.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, Fade, you do know for a fact illusions don't draw blood.
Like I'm sure this is him, but it's I gotta try.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
So I rolled a 21,
Okay.
Okay.
but I'm just trying to. I mean, like I probably got hit by my father before because we're all dicks to each other.
He's never hit you like this.
Okay.
You know, this was again. He's wearing full armor. He's got again a metal gauntlet on both hands. Like he is dressed for battle.
Not like it matters, but I rolled a natural 20.
He's real.
Yeah.
You're relatively certain of it. And yeah, he seems to be really there.
I will try to stand up.
Okay, as you stand up, you hear the sound of a weapon being unhitched from a belt, and as you stand up, you wow, that was a good roll. You see a warhammer coming straight for your head as you kind of duck out of the way, and the swing goes slightly wide. So the blow itself misses you, but you can see he's starting to channel divine power, being a cleric for the guiding beacon, and a relatively high-ranking one. He
What? What? I guess like
unless
no, that's
unless
not
you
okay.
unless you have told me that he was something else and I've forgotten.
He disowned me because I went cleric.
Uh,
But if that's I don't care. That's fine.
because theoretically you became a cleric and then kind of flunked out of cleric school and then got hired to do this secretive mission that you weren't allowed to talk about anymore.
Okay.
So that's what I assumed. If you would prefer it to be different, I can change things kind of quickly. I'm kind of shuffling through things here.
You said it. It's fine with me. I don't care.
Okay.
So I get kind of taken aback by that, and I'm gonna fucking god off with my dad apparently. So I'm gonna start casting some shit at him.
Okay.
I will attempt to sacred flame him.
Okay. What's your spell save DC?
17.
Wow, there goes that die. He as a bolt of divine energy comes down in this indigo glow, it comes down, and as it impacts him, he seems to just take it, and it just fuels his rage even more. Go ahead and roll damage.
13.
All right. So as he does that, he goes, "You disgrace this family. Try to turn my own daughter against me. And then you use your perverted connection with a dead god to try and harm me." And I need a dexterity save from you and anyone that's nearby you. So I think Kata was close by because you were inspecting. Avok, Willow, and Elaine, I will let you choose if you did you wander over towards him or are you further away?
I was still trying to figure out
Wisdom?
I probably would have wandered towards, so I have to
Okay.
make a wisdom save.
I believe it's a dex save, actually.
Oh,
I
okay.
have to look at the spell again.
20 total.
Unless, off the top of your head, do you know Flame
What
Strike?
spell? Oh, yeah. Most fire stuff is dex.
That's what I figured. I have to actually look up what the damage is as well.
Oh, God, I just...
So that's good.
Okay.
Boy, that's not going to feel good.
Oh, he seems upset for some bizarre reason. So Avok, what'd you get?
17.
Okay, fail. Kata, what'd you get?
Yes.
20 total.
You're good. Fade, what'd you get?
5.
Fail. So Kata, you're gonna take half of this.
This is going to hurt.
The rest of you guys are gonna take the full blunt of this.
Okay.
So you take 13 radiant damage and 14 fire damage. Both of those would be
27 total.
halved for you, Kata. As
So
this
the
bolt
13
of
total?
holy fire comes down and kind of incinerates all of you guys. So Fade, you have taken your action this turn. We're going to kind of do this a little bit differently as you guys are trying to figure this out. And all this stuff is
I'm a
happening.
spiritual weapon him as well, though.
Okay. Make your attack roll. Or no, because you did Sacred Flames. You can. Never mind.
16 to hit.
Not enough. The spiritual weapon, what is it that you create?
It's Avok's axe.
Avok's axe. So you see this axe kind of appear out of nowhere, swings, and he just smacks it away with his shield. You go, "Fool! Do you think your limited, disgusting power can touch me?"
We'll see.
Avok and Kata, you haven't done anything yet. Neither has Elaine or Willow. I'm going to be assuming that you are spending all of your time trying to figure out this.
Yep. Okay.
I'm also trying to figure this out.
Okay.
But, oh, God.
So I'm basically going to put a timer on this.
Oh, God.
You can.
This was the timer puzzle.
You guys can choose to either focus on the puzzle, and that will take your turn, or you can do something for your character, like attack or something like that. So I'm going to start with Kata. I'm assuming you want to focus on the puzzle right now? Because that'll basically give you, I won't annoy you until your turn comes around again, so you can fully focus on the puzzle. Otherwise, I'm going to continue to talk at you and things like that to make it difficult. So.
Okay, everyone but me took full damage, right?
Yes.
I'm gonna use this turn. Well, is everyone in range for mass cure wounds?
Easily.
Okay, then I'll do that.
Okay. So you watch as Kata kind of concentrates and she spreads her hands out, and Nature Magic starts going up. You see, Fade, you see your father get this look of disgust. "You dare use that disgusting filth in my presence? You should have been killed when you were born." Go ahead and roll whatever your healing is.
Yeah.
Avok, you are on deck. What are you going to be doing? It's 21 hit points for everybody. which almost heals all the damage they got from that flame strike.
Helps a bit. Okay.
I have to remember my cleric spells.
Jesus, I don't even.
Yeah, your dad's been doing this for a while. Avok, what are you doing? You helping with helping figure things out? Or are you going to make an attack? Got to choose now.
Oh no! This guy just attacked me. Okay, I'm not happy with that. I'm gonna fucking smack the shit out of him.
Go for it. Make your attack.
All right.
Jeez, you're worse than my father, you dickweed.
Natural 20.
That's a miss. Roll your ungodly high amount of damage.
All right. Whoa. Oh. Okay. Hold on.
Do you have the brutal critical thing now too?
Oh, I do. I still do.
Barbarians are fun, folks. Everyone should have a barbarian in the party.
Okay. Well, that means I need to get another D12 because I actually want to roll 3D12.
Okay, Elaine, you are on deck.
Oh, okay. One of them not. Okay, hang on. 25, 39, plus 34 points of damage.
All right, as you sit there and you strike him with your axe, as it cuts into him, you're very used to seeing this axe cut and wounds bleed. The wound doesn't bleed.
Oh shit.
You've definitely cut into him, but the magic that's kind of imbued in this axe that you've seen work hundreds and hundreds of times before doesn't seem to be doing anything to him. And he just looks at you with his look of disgust. What else are you doing? You still have another attack if you want to do it?
God. Yeah, I'll attack him
He doesn't.
again.
It doesn't look like he didn't take damage from it. He just seems to not be bleeding out like you're used to seeing bad guys do when you hit him with it. And you see there's a kind of glow about him now.
Fuck. Okay. Ava, no, I'm gonna punch him. I'm gonna punch him.
Okay.
Yeah, it's an unarmed strike. Fuck me. That's 7.
So as you punch him, he catches your hand. And as he's with the hand that he holds his shield with, he just catches it. And where are you? I need a Constitution saving throw from you.
Oh, fuck me. God, 12.
Yeah.
But can I give him my inspiration?
Sure, if you want to.
Right.
Thank you. Not that it. Fucking. Same thing.
Oh well.
All right. So as you're sitting there and he grabs your hand as you try to punch him, you see this kind of bright yellow glow to his hands start kind of running over your hand, and your hand itself starts feeling like it's burning, and you see these like pustules and things start to form on your hand and burst. And you take 49 necrotic damage.
Oh, motherfucker!
As he Fade, you probably are familiar. You would recognize a blight spell when it's cast.
Use that as a reaction?
Well, that was technically that was done at the end of your turn. So If you had something else that you were going to do, it just narratively worked. It
Shit.
sounded best then.
Okay. Fuck. Okay, he really hurt me bad.
Oh God.
All right. So after he does that, he lets you go and turns back towards Fade. Elaine, before he gets to do anything, you are up.
Can I throw the iron bands at him?
Yes, you can. You have to remind me how they work, though, because I've completely forgotten. Is it a
Hold
save?
on, let me open my Google Docs real quick.
My DMG is buried under so much stuff right now. I can't look it up. I'm sorry.
It's literally copy pasted from the Dungeon Master's Guide. I just gotta remember which doc it is under.
So you guys watch as Elaine is sitting there, and he takes his Pokeball out and just chucks it at your dad.
Where is it?
And I think
know I-
even with the fact that he's pretty high level, this is kind of a broken magic item. It's a cool magic item. I love it, but I'm not sure if he's going to be able to save out of it.
I scrolled past it. Let's see.
I think you make an attack roll, and then he can try and save out of it if it hits him.
You can take an action, speed the command, throw the spear that you see within 60 feet. Make a ranged attack roll, yeah.
Okay. So dex-based attack roll.
I'm gonna stop using this freaking die. Let's use this one. Don't screw me over. Oh my god. Let's see, I rolled a 6.
Okay.
What did it say? Equal to my dexterity plus proficiency.
Yeah, so it's basically the same thing as making an attack with your dragon tail. It's the same math.
I rolled a 13.
13. So as you throw this ball, it starts to open up, and he just leans backwards, and the ball goes flying past him.
Yo, fuck you, man.
Anything else you want to do with your turn?
I don't get an extra attack since I didn't take an attack.
Yeah, unfortunately not. Willow, if you would like to roll me a history check, you
Is
might
this
be able
a
to
history
discover
check
something about
a magic item, alchemical object, or technological device?
let's say no, not on this one. This is on something completely different.
Scared.
History 16.
So sitting here looking at this, trying to figure out what it is, you're trying to figure out what this could be referring to. The words book cipher come to mind.
Well, yes. No, I did know that. I know that it spells out PHP, lore of knowledge. I'm looking at the page. I have no idea what to do with these numbers. Yes.
Okay. Well,
'Cause none of them seem to make any sense from the page.
you're familiar with a 16. You're familiar that book ciphers are a way of encoding messages,
Okay.
and they require two people having access to the same book in order to be able to use the cipher, and that the reasons it's used over like character replacement ciphers is because without having access to the book, all you have is a string of numbers that mean nothing. But when you have access to the book, the numbers will correspond and translate into the language that you're looking for without giving too much away. So going back up to the top of the order, it is Daddy time. Daddy is upset. And Daddy doesn't remember what spells he has access to because he doesn't want to use Blight again. Not that it wasn't a cool spell, but he wants to be, cool. Actually, he's gonna really piss you off, or he can't because it takes a minute to cast that.
Well, is he going to get 2 spells in a turn? It was the end of Avok's turn, then you had him go.
He had a legendary action.
Oh, Jesus. That's
Yeah.
cool.
Ian, you guys can be relatively certain anytime you're facing a single opponent, they will have legendary actions just for action economy. So that's what had to happen at the end of Avok's turn. You can't have a legendary action in the middle of a turn. So he is still not very pleased with you. So he's going to turn to you, Fade, and he goes, I'm going to give you one chance. Your sister has already been punished.
For what?
For being a traitor. For rebelling against the Empire. For listening to your lies and filth. You know what she tried to do? She tried to restrain me so that I could not help our troops smash this disgusting, worthless group of rebels you have formed.
Wait.
And she failed, so I punished her. If you wish to keep your life, you will stop this nonsense now and kill these worthless wastes of flesh in front of you. And maybe I will decide to spare your life, to give you the chance to redeem yourself.
I've already gotten that deal once, and we're still here. Take it and shove it right up your fucking pointy-eared ass, old man.
What is he going to do? He was less than thrilled with that. He's gonna smack you with his hammer.
Yeah.
He brings it down. I think it's only going to be an 18. Is it an 18 hit?
No, it doesn't.
All right, so he brings it down to smack on you, and you bring your shield up. It's now starting to fight against your father, who's never been the warmest person in the world, but he's never tried to kill you before. This is a new side of your father you've not seen before.
Yeah.
He does not have multi-attack, so he doesn't attack again, despite the fact that I just rolled. Got a 15 on the dice, too. And he just sits there seething. You notice that he's glowing even brighter now. His armor is glowing. Like, there just seems to be this unearthly light coming from him. That brings us back to everybody, actually. We're going to do a thing I like to call Popcorn Initiative that I'm totally stealing from Hyper RPG. But basically, I'm going to let Fade go first, and Fade, you're going to get to decide who goes next.
Okay. So he hits my shield. He's got a warhammer, you said, or a mace?
I believe it's a warhammer. Whatever because it starts out light hammer, then warhammer, if I remember correctly.
All right, then.
For the rank weapons.
As he comes down with that, I want to use my claw disarm attempt. So I'm going to make an attack roll.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, cool. Go for it.
So I definitely succeed in that.
Yeah, I was about to say, technically, you're only supposed to be able to do that if the attack hits. You
know what? You're right.
I'm still going to let you go ahead and make the disarm thing, but
okay.
you're going to have to beat his AC, is what it is,
sure.
instead of just the attack roll.
Well, I rolled a 28.
Well, it doesn't matter then. Yeah, you sit there and you grip it and you fling his warhammer out of his hand, and it lands, 20 feet behind you.
Sure, and then
that is your action for the turn, unfortunately.
Sure,
but
that's fine.
Do you have a bonus that you want to use?
I'm going to disarm it and kind of try to throw it behind Avok.
Sure. If with a 28, you make it land wherever you want. You can make it land on Avok if you want with a 28.
Yeah. And
with weapons.
Real quick, this encounter, was this piggybacked on the last one or no?
Yeah, basically.
Then I'm going to get that spiritual weapon over here. I for sure would have been trying to move it next to us.
That's fine.
So I'm just gonna have that try to hit him again, and it will not hit him. So
Okay.
now I'm done.
So he blocks it with his shield again. He's really pissed off that he doesn't have his hammer anymore. Like, he was really attached to that. It was a nice hammer. It's all magical and stuff. You just take away his hammer, you jerk. You get to choose who goes next. The way Popcorn Initiative works is you choose who goes next, and you can choose me to go next. If it gets to the end of the turn and I haven't gone yet, I get two. I get basically 2 rounds in a row.
Well, I think that this is kind of a locked in combat situation, so I would like him to go next.
Okay. He's really mad that you did that. He's actually going to. I'm assuming legend lore isn't going to do anything for him.
Yes, it will. It will tell him all about my gauntlet.
No, because he doesn't want to do that. Yeah, I have to figure out how this spell works because I think it doesn't work the way I want it to, but I want it to work a certain way.
You geriatric fucker.
I'm starting to think that there are some serious issues between you and your father here.
Well, if there weren't before, there sure are now.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. He sits there and he tries to grab you around the throat.
Okay.
This is really going to suck if I miss. Damn it. Well, no, because you have good... 17's not going to hit, is it?
No.
No, it's not. So he goes to grab around your throat, and you move, and you see divine energy. Oh, is there anything that happens on a miss? This is such a high-level spell.
Which one?
Contagion.
Oh, God.
No, you gotta...
No,
Is it
if
even
you
an
miss,
attack roll?
it's a waste. Yeah. You make a melee
Yeah.
spell attack against the creature within your reach.
Yeah.
It's just...
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Just a miss. That sucks. That's such a good spell. Yeah, so he sits there and you watch like this almost like this cloud of spores come out of his hand, and as you recognize the spell, you instantly stop breathing so that none of it gets anywhere near you until the cloud disperses.
Okay.
I'm going to pop it to Kata.
Oh, God. I don't know, is there anything? Is there anything counter with?
You saw Avok get hurt pretty bad. So obviously, he could use some help. What you're seeing is a lot of stuff that you've seen, kind of like similar stuff Fade use, and what he's doing is definitely like kind of anti-nature. Like the blight spell is like kills plants, and the spell that he just did spreads disease. So he's very much doing some very, very bad things. And he has a slight resemblance to Fade. He looks like an older version of Fade. So.
Yeah, I just feel useless right now. I'm trying to decipher this code.
It's okay. Just you take a breath. As Kata herself, being a very natural person, she, you might decide that she wants to go on the offensive against this guy. She's also very protective of her friends, as you've done. So you have healing spells at your disposal as well. What would you like to do? With the fact that we've changed from regular initiative to this popcorn one, things are going to work just a little bit differently, and it's not quite as hectic as regular initiative. So
has Fade's dad visibly taken any damage?
Yep. When Avok hit him, he definitely got hit. He just didn't bleed out. Avok,
Wait,
Avok has this axe that when he cuts people, they will just bleed. Even if the cut isn't that deep, they will just start bleeding.
Wait, Jody, I may have misunderstood that. Did I actually do damage to him?
You did do damage. He just, the save that you normally have to make?
Okay. That would have fucked up. I misunderstood that. Okay. Good to know.
So he did take damage, and I think Fade Fade hit him with some magic, and he took damage from that too. So he's not invincible or anything. He's just kind of glowy right now. And he hurt Avok, and he keeps trying to hurt Fade, but keeps missing terribly. So it's entirely up to you. And now you have your elemental forms as well, or you can save them. Whatever you'd like to do.
I really want to try and save him for the
Okay.
for later.
You also have cantrips at your disposal as well. That with you being level 10, they're going to be a little bit more powerful than just base level. So what would you like to do?
Who's more hurt right now, Fade or
Avok. I'm fine.
Yeah, Avok's the one that's taking the most damage by a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
A good portion of the damage was.
How far away is he?
Real close. Like you can get to him easily.
Heal me.
Yeah. Okay. Kieran's at level 4.
Okay. So you guys watch as Kata runs over and she places her hands on Avok, and you see some of the scars and everything from the bursts, like pustules on your arm, start to slowly knit themselves back together, and you start feeling a little bit better.
16 HP back.
You get 16 HP back.
Okay.
Now, the way that Popcorn Initiative works, Kata, is you get to choose who goes next.
Well,
Out of the people that haven't gone yet this turn, so that's Elaine, Avok, and Willow.
Willow.
All right, Willow, you are up. If you'd like to, you can spend your turn rolling another history check if you want more insight into what this puzzle is, or you can use your turn to attack Fade's father. What do you want to do?
I'm gonna keep working on this.
Okay.
She's-
So make me another history check.
Yeah. Natural 20.
That's okay. So thinking more about book ciphers, because something that's relatively common with secret study and stuff like that is that wizards will encrypt their writing and stuff like that so other people can't. So you know that the reason a book cipher works the way that it does is that each number refers to a letter in the book.
Okay.
So by counting letters, there has to be something that kind of sets up what where in the book you're supposed to be looking.
Well, that I got. Okay.
So yeah, you know that each number refers to a letter.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
Popcorn Initiative. You have Avok and Elaine left. Willow?
Your choice, Willow.
Oh, Avok.
Avok.
I'm
You are up
fucking
next.
pissed. 2 swings at this douche motherfucker.
Go for it.
Okay, that's a 28 to hit.
Definitely a hit. Roll damage.
Good. God, fuck you.
You seem
The
upset.
rage. The rage.
I didn't think 49 damage would make you that upset. To be perfectly honest, that was a really high roll. Like, that was a lot of 7s and 8s.
Well, that's 11 damage on the first hit.
Okay. So, again, cuts in. Again, he seems immune to the magical aspects of your axe, but you're still chopping into him, and he's still definitely getting hit by it.
Good. That's a 22 to hit.
That's another hit.
That's better. Fucking A. 12 plus 15 plus 4. That's 19 damage.
Okay. So as you hit him a second time, you see for the first time he winces in pain. Still
How's that feel, you little prick?
doesn't seem like he's still not bleeding, despite the fact that you've done a lot of damage to him. He's not bleeding at all. Like even like normal, like a busted lip or something like that. There is no blood coming out of him whatsoever.
Whatever. If I chop his head off, I'll be happy.
The last person left this round is Elaine.
Right.
So, Elaine, what do you want to do?
I want to grapple him with my dragon tail
All right.
since I couldn't get him with the ball.
Make your roll.
Oh, that's the highest thing I've rolled all night. Oh. 21.
Scared. Ah, thank God.
So what's your roll, Elaine?
21.
Oh, 21. Sorry. Yeah, you sit there and as you throw your dragon tail out, you grapple him right around his neck and you start pulling him back. You still have another attack and your bonus action.
So I could use the other attack to tail slam then?
You could if you would like to.
I would like to.
All right, go
Can I
ahead.
slam him just in the same spot so he doesn't move away from A-blocking them?
Well, as long as he's grappled, his movement speed is 0. So,
Well, I mean, because I can move him. I just want to know. I could just choose the same spot for the slam.
yeah, you could leave him. You basically lift him up and slam him in the same spot, or you can move him. That's your decision. So, what do you want to do?
I'm gonna just slam him in the exact same spot.
Okay. Make your attack roll because you still technically have to roll for it.
Yeah, I'm reading it right now because I haven't actually been able to tail slam. Oh, well, I was not sure if that was a 1 or a 7. It's a 7 plus 7, 14.
Okay. So as you sit there and try and lift him to up, does it do half damage on a miss or anything, or is it just gone?
Hold on, reading.
It's been so long. I wrote that over a year ago. Is that crazy or what?
Yeah, like I said, I haven't really been able to do it because they always die before I get another attack. See, on a success, he moves. Doing normal damage. Target.
Screw later.
It doesn't say. It just says on a hit, the target is large or smaller. Throw it to any space, doing normal damage.
I'm gonna say on a miss, then it's a miss, unfortunately.
Okay.
So as you sit there and you try and do it, he grabs onto your dragon tail and kind of pulls you forward off balance, preventing you from doing that. You still have your bonus action. So if you want to make your offhand dragon tail attack, you can.
Yeah, we'll just do that.
Okay. Make your attack roll.
22.
It's definitely a hit. Roll damage. You do get sneak
Oh,
attack for it because
this
you
is
have
gonna
allies
be-
next to him.
A lot of damage. Give me a moment to grab all my dice. Sneak attack is 3d6. 2, 3. And I keep forgetting what the freaking dragon tail is.
It's a D.
A d8?
Let's say it's a
What's
D.
the,
Let's say it's a
it's the
D8.
equivalent of a whip?
Yeah, it's a whip.
It's
No,
a
it's different than a
D4.
whip.
Oh,
It's-
it's different?
Oh,
It
well,
comes
let me
from a
do
whip, but it's very different. It does a lot more damage than a whip.
Oh,
Oh,
okay,
it's
that's
a d10.
your judgment.
Yeah, it's either a D6 or a D8, and I'm just going to say it's a D8 right now.
Oh no, wait, that's the wrong dragon.
Technically, it's a two-handed. It's based on
It's a d8.
if you're familiar with the rope dart in Chinese kung fu, where you flip the thing around and all that. It's based on that. So what was the damage?
Let's see, sneak attack was 10, the 8 was 2, and then it's dexterity, right?
Yep.
For 16.
16. All right. So you sit there and you whip it, and it pierces through his armor, and still no blood is coming out, but he has like holes in him, and he's looking pretty rough now. Goes back up to the. We're actually Elaine. You get to choose anyone because it's the top of the round now. So you can choose him to go, or you can choose anyone in the party. What do you want?
Oh, this is too much power.
I've got the
Willow's
power.
looking really excited. She's put it out there. She's got something.
Okay, Willow then.
Okay.
Oh, the president.
So Willow grabs Toulon and rather than saying it out loud because she doesn't want other people, namely Fade's dad, to hear it, just scratches out onto the paper what the phrase is.
So he goes, "You are lovely, darling," and he sits there, and you see a gateway start to form as he's like piecing it together from random pieces of arcane energy, and it looks like it's probably going to take him a little bit longer to finish it, but you've given him the last piece of the puzzle he needed. So it's getting there. You guys are getting closer, but you still can't escape yet. So
Is there any way I can be helping him?
that was helping him.
Okay.
So that is your turn. You've got Avok, Fade, Kata, Lane, or Fade's dad. Who you throwing it to?
Fade.
Fade, you're up. Your dad's in front of you. He looks rough. He's pissed.
Yeah. I'm going to scream to Avok. It's your time to shine, buddy. I'm going to cast silence on my dad and I.
Avok, the world goes silent. Kata, for you as well. Like, all sound stops.
And I telepathically whisper, "It's okay. We can still speak this way."
Yep. And then,
anything else you want to do?
yeah, I'm just making sure. Spiritual weapon. I'm just seeing if it's how I direct it to make its secondary attacks.
It's a
on your turn.
bonus
You
action.
can move it. But would that require verbal? The casting of it is verbal.
No, you have like a psychic connection to it. You know, it's your magic weapon. It does. The weapon's not sentient, so.
Okay. And I will take a swing and for 15 to hit.
Again, blocks it with his shield.
All done.
Who's going next? You've got Kata, Avok, Elaine, or your dad.
I wanted Avok in there.
Okay, Avok, you're up.
Okay, fuck this guy. Okay, that's 26 to hit.
Definitely hits. Roll damage.
Good. Okay, 5, 9, 3, 12, plus 2. 14 damage.
How do you want to do this?
Topping is fucking.
As this video stops. That was amazing.
Too intense.
Your video just censored you.
You're my peach.
Like, that was amazing. So Avok, you sit there and you say something really, really cool, but because of the silence, no one can hear it. And you just swing your axe. Fade, you watch as Avok takes his axe and cleaves your father's head straight off. You watch your father, the man who raised you, who inspired you to join the clergy, and then reprimanded you when you failed. You watch his body, his lifeless body, just hit the ground, and his head bounce a few times and roll away. And I'd like dex saves from Avok, Fade, and Kata, and Elaine, please.
Natural 20.
Okay.
Nice. 16.
Okay.
That's 17.
Okay. Elaine? Sorry, I didn't hear that.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. What's your save?
10.
So you're the only one who's going to take full damage from this. 5 plus 6. 11 damage. 11 radiant damage to Elaine. 5 radiant damage to everybody else. As your father's body hits the ground, this explosion of light goes from it, and then his body is there. It's now bleeding profusely from the lack of head, and the body is lifeless.
I kind of walk up and pet Avok on the back. Hopefully, he doesn't stab me with his giant axe. But I'm going to actually go through the corpse of my father for any components, scrolls that he might have on him, and then I'm also going to take his holy symbol.
So yeah, he does have a holy symbol for the guiding beacon. His rank weapon is there as well. He was a platinum warhammer. Or not a platinum. I'm sorry, a silver warhammer. Sorry. So if you want, you can attempt to take his rank weapon as well, or do you want to leave it there with him?
No,
Okay.
he's dead. He can't use it.
So you pick it up. It's well-made hammer. It's got some magical properties, but you're not sure. Because by the time you start getting to those higher ranks, they most Eladrids start kind of modifying their rank weapon if they do use it a lot. So you have no idea what your father's done to his hammer. And you don't have the time to figure it out now, because as soon as you do that, you hear telepathically, if you haven't turned the silence off yet. All right, time for you all to go. This isn't going to stay open much longer, and we have more friends coming. And as you guys look back, you see from the tunnel that you guys came in, 3 longboats with Eladrin troops heading in. What do you guys want to do?
Let's go.
I nod to
Okay.
Alone and say to
So there's a
stay safe,
doorway,
because
basically a
that-
doorway of light that you guys see that he's created out of arcane energy. So I'm assuming you all walk through it.
Yes.
Avok's the last to walk in. Before he walks in, he just turns to all the douchebags and flips them the birds and walks in.
Yeah.
Okay. So as you guys go through, you're blinded by the light itself, and as your eyes adjust, you are in a very large circular room, probably about 100 feet in diameter. The roof itself is vaulted up to about 50 feet. The entire room looks to be made of platinum. And it's lit, but you can't tell from what. There just seems to be light that you can see with in there. As you look around, you can see 13 thrones in a semicircle on the other side of the room. In each throne, you see a thing that you can't really describe. The throne itself is made of electrum, and you can see these bands around what you assume used to be arms are now these bloated masses of flesh strapping it down there. You can see strange humanoid shapes that have strange bulbous growths coming out of them. Some of them, have extra mouths on them. Some of them have, additional limbs and that, but they're strapped to these chairs, moving and moaning ever so slightly. And in the center, you see an Eladrin taller and larger than any Eladrin you've ever seen before, standing a good 7.5, 8 feet tall on this very large throne that's about 10 feet above the ground, with steps going up to it. And he's sitting there with his hands crossed, and he sees you all there, and he goes, "Well, it seems I have guests. What are we going to do about that, everyone?" And that's where we're going to end it for tonight.
Fuck!
God damn it.
If you guys are watching live or watching at home, I hope you guys enjoyed this. This is again my custom campaign, and they have just come to the climax of the first story arc, and strange stuff is going to happen. So if you want, I do run this campaign every other week. So just tune in Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. Central Time, twitch.tv/TrainerJody to watch it live. Otherwise, you can check it out on my YouTube channel. YouTube.com/TrainerJody. I am also trying to get subscribers and views so I can continue making content on YouTube. So please, if you're watching this, go over to the channel, hit the subscribe button. I really appreciate it. Watch a couple episodes, catch up on this. I think we're on episode like 49 or 50 now. Feel free to see the other stuff that these guys have done. It's been amazing. These guys have been playing together for over 2 years now. It's impressive, guys. Some of them are more recent additions than others, but the game has been going for over 2 years. So anyway, that's all for me today, and I will see you guys next time, all right? Bye-bye.